There's nobody up here in the attic, so it should be safe enough. Safe enough for what, Johanna? Well, all sorts of things. There are bad humans everywhere looking to do all kinds of horrible things. Oh, you've been reading the newspapers again, the ones the humans use to safely pack their fragile stuff, haven't you? Well, yeah, and even if half of that stuff was true, this world has gotten to be a really scary, dangerous place. Well, yeah, but it's always been scary and dangerous. Well, has it always been this bad? I mean, there are reports in there about, oh, I know, you don't have to tell me. Granny showed me in the Bible some of the reasons why God doesn't just stop all the evil, but that doesn't mean we can't stay away from bad things. Maybe we should just stay up here in the attic, out of harm's way. Well, only if that's what God wants us to do. Do you think he wants believers to just hide out and never tell anyone about him? Well, no, that's not what he said to do. We need to take courage and trust him, even with our lives, like Paul did. Oh, Paul, the last time we heard about him, he was on his way from Ephesus to Jerusalem after his third missionary journey. Yes, when he and his companions arrived, Paul gave a report to the church leaders. They were thrilled to hear the good news, but some Jews who had been opposing him saw him in the temple, and they were furious. They shouted and false accusations and got the crowd to attack him. He was rescued by Roman soldiers who didn't understand anything about what was going on. The commander was going to have the information beaten out of Paul till he discovered that Paul was a Roman citizen. Oh, well, that commander might have thought Paul was a common criminal, so he could do whatever he wanted to him, but you can't beat a Roman citizen. Right. So he called the Jewish leaders together and brought Paul in, trying to understand what the problem might be. Oh, well, did it work? No. The Jews hardly let Paul speak before they slugged him right in the mouth. Ooh, bad start. It got worse. Paul, protesting being struck in the mouth like that, called the high priest a whitewashed wall. The Jews said he shouldn't do that. Well, why not? Isn't that exactly what he was? Yeah. Paul saw that some of them were Sadducees and some were Pharisees, so he called out that it was because of his hope of the resurrection of the dead that he was on trial. That started a big fight among the Jewish leaders, and it got so bad the Romans had to rescue Paul again. Oh, that was pretty smart, though. Paul's nephew learned of a plot amongst the Jews to kill Paul, and he told the Roman commander. The Jewish leaders were planning to ask for Paul to be brought to them again on the following day, but more than 40 of them had taken an oath not to eat or drink anything until they had killed Paul. They planned to ambush him on the way to the meeting. Uh-oh. The commander wrote a letter to the governor, whose name was Felix, about what had happened, and then that very night he called up 200 soldiers, 270 horsemen, and 200 spearmen to take Paul to the governor at Caesarea. Whoa! Isn't that a little bit of an overkill? That's 2 plus 2 plus... That's 670 soldiers! Well, the commander could not take a chance on a Roman citizen being murdered by the Jews. That would have been a real big mess. A few days later, the high priest and several other Jewish leaders came to Caesarea to present their case against Paul. This time, Paul was allowed to present his case again and defend himself against their charges. Well, finally, was Paul released? No. As a favor to the Jews, the governor kept Paul in prison with some freedoms. He was hoping for a bribe, and over the next 2 years, Paul presented his defense to other officials, which of course included the gospel of Jesus Christ. He was able to do this even in front of Festus and Agrippa. The Jews kept asking for Paul to be sent back to Jerusalem, but Paul knew that there would be an ambush on the way, so at last he appealed to Caesar, so they had to send him to Rome. Oh, just like God had told everyone that would happen. The officials in Caesarea agreed that Paul had committed no crime and would have been set free if he hadn't appealed to Caesar. That trip to Rome became one of Paul's most dangerous and exciting adventures. Wow, even more dangerous and exciting than his life up till then? He needed even more courage. God gives us courage when we need it to do what he wants us to do. What will you do with Jesus? Neutral you cannot be. Someday your heart will be asking, what will he do with me?